Hi, this is Sofia Wed, and this is part 2 of the evidence. Today, Mexico faces a multifaceted problem regarding the indigenous people that not only encompasses the Zapatista National Liberation Army movement, which from almost 3 decades has been fighting in response to the discrimination and marginalization suffered particularly by Chiapanecos. The Mexican state lacks the skills for successful intercultural dialogue to take place because, according to The Economist, there is a cultural reluctance to modernization. There is this old Mexico that is opposed to abandon its ways of life, but it also prices. Many Mexicans continue to be people from small companies because they lack the skills, context, or possibilities to be more entrepreneurial or better paid and with better treatment, but with more tax salaries. Romantic notions of the old Mexico often sell interest groups that benefit from this status quo, such as unions and antiquated political bosses with power bases in peasant communities. Take, for example, in 1994, the Zapatista indigenous movement, uprising in Chiapas, the southernmost state, struck the shine of the launch of NAFTA and helped trigger the peso crisis less than a year later. This has been a problem of the poorest in Mexico, which has taken the country off course at a time when it seemed to be on the cusp of economic advances. Nevertheless, last year, the general director of the National Institute of Indigenous Communities, Adelfo Regino Montes, assured the actual conception that the Mexican government recognizes the pueblos indígenas as subjects of public law and pillars of national transformation. The ones more aware of this problem are solely the Mexicans, who are able to place their sight into Mexico with a lot of disparities in society. Just to point out, until 2020, Coneval released a report where 43.9% of the population were under poverty. So how do you explain that this problematic is getting solved when the population is literally split into two spheres? Let's be clear on what is being said and what numbers in reality tell us.
The Neo-Zapatista is a movement that has a truly global international projection since its own emergence on 1994. It raised an echo in the world press that is absolutely unpublished and original. Probably this was not by chance, if we go back to the situation after 1989. The EZLN suddenly arises and returns to the world the hope that there can be a radical social change after the fall of the Berlin Wall, which is considered a fundamental role because not only does it return that aspiration that there can be a radical transformation, but that it also, for example, relaunches the entire indigenous movement of Latin America that had been fighting for 500 years, that were in a defensive position and always to a point of retreat. Before 1994, and in that sense of starting to make a whole series of conquests that can be seen today in Ecuador, Bolivia, Chile, and Mexico itself. They say autonomy is being able to build their own life and their own society according to their own criteria and according to their own decisions in the assembly.
Moreover, the Mexican government places their position in working towards to embrace multiculturalism and the inclusion of minority groups such as indigenous communities. This is achieved through the constitutional reform, the transparency of the diverse secretarias, and the political receptibility. They're strongly devoted to continue the dialogue to develop alternatives that successfully attend the needs of the indigenous and minority communities. It also remarks that there would not be tolerance in any action that includes violence and that goes against the human rights, which will be punished. The Zapatista National Liberation Movement agreed with what the government stated, maintaining military movement as long as the state delivers and complies on giving support to the indigenous community. However, the UN remained with its solid position as an international organization that merely focuses on interfering as a bridge to gather different visions and interests through the discussion of common problems, finding shared solutions that benefit all of the parts involved. It also states the acknowledgement of cultural diversity and intercultural dialogue, helping to diffuse the tensions that can arise in multicultural societies. It also highlights that reconciliation is what guarantees peace. To address this drawn intercultural dialogue, I suggest that the government allocates a larger amount of the public spending budget to attend basic needs like health, education, nutrition, and shelter. This by working on developing the promotion of projects that improve the quality of life of people in all areas that inhibit the division of the country. With this being said, movements like the EZLN wouldn't be trying to raise their voices if they wouldn't have deficiencies and shortages to satisfy their essentials to be alive. I hope one day Mexico altogether, individuals and institutions, find a way to embody and work towards the same goal. Thank you so much.